Hi, welcome to the new ESOL purchasing system. Today we'll be discussing the purchasing order cycle from start to end from the department requester side. A department requester is a teacher that handles the purchasing orders for the entire school or for a certain department, like for example the library or the PE teacher or a certain teacher in a department like a math or science teacher. In order to start with the process, we will go step by step and show how the verification for order happens, as well as how the order is processed and sent through the workflow of the organization. To start, we are already logged in. We need to go to purchasing order to make a new purchase request. We will be facing with the regular standard window for the ESOL purchasing system that has the filters for the active or cancel requests or to show all requests, the filter for the amount of entries to be shown, as well as the search bar and the data grid that shows each order processed by the user. In order to make a new order, we need to click on New Request. Once we click on that, we are faced with the Add Order or the Edit Order window that allows us to put in the order details. The system by default identifies the users since it is department requested. The teacher is in mathematics, but of course this is totally editable, and as all of our drop-down lists within the ESOL purchasing system, we'll be able to find it is completely searchable, and we can search by any department and we can update. Currently, we will leave it as it is, so we can follow for the sake of the example. We can choose the vendor as well as search, as well as the amount of currency if we want. The school is assigned by the actual user, but if you're making for another school, or like for example primary, secondary, earlier, or whatever section that you want to follow, is fine. Or if it's generic, you can choose whole section, as well as the year groups. Once we have all of that, we can click on Save and Exit, which will prompt us back to the main page to show us that the order has been created or the draft has been created. But if we click on Save, once we click on that, you will see multiple changes happen in the window. First of all, the order gets a purchasing order number, which is generic and automatically generated by the system, as well as a bunch of other options, like for example, the button here that we see is to send to the head of department, to cancel the order, as well as the tab of the order details, and we will explore with them one by one. The send to head of department order button, what it does is sends an email to the actual sender, which is the department requester, and the receiver, which is the head of the department, that the request has been sent for approval. Of course, this is a step we will show once we send the request to the other side. The button of canceling order basically cancels the order from the draft phase, and the order gets cancelled and does not get processed within the system. As for the order details tab, this is a tab that adds to the itemized bill or the itemized items from a certain vendor. Like for example, in our example, the phrase scientific, as you can see, they will see a bunch of details including the vendor name, the email, the phone number, and the fax number. If we're going to be having a test, for example, to try to put an ISBN, you will see a pop-up window showing, indicating the amount of that ISBN in inventory. So it will be a quick tip for the users to let them know if the item is available in the inventory or not. And we can try to test, of course. We can try and make it first item, click on books, item unit. All of that items are available and already pre-configured within the system by your school admin. If you don't find your item type or the item unit available, please do contact your school admin and they will add it to your system. We can as well add the quantity, let's say 30, and the amount of price, which is approximately 50. Of course, each item, it will show the amount automatically calculated, as you can see, with the currency that has been chosen by the vendor, as well as the equivalent in the default currency of the system, which is currently the US dollar. If we have any further description, we can put that here. And once we click on Save Detail, it will automatically populate the data that we have to the detail grid below. The detail grid below will show the details of the items, and of course we can add a bunch of more if we want. For example, like this, and second item, as well as the item type, as well as a box, let's say 20 and then 10, and we click on Save Detail, and as you can see, it's automatically created down below once you click on Save, and it shows in the grid with the total price, the amount of unit price, and the quantity of the item. If we click on Save and Exit, it will prompt us back to the main page that shows us the status of the order currently on the user side. But This only visible for the user because we are still in the draft phase. It's not visible for anyone else unless we transfer it to the head of department, or in our case, the next cycle in the chain. Whatever is following in the workflow, after the draft phase, it will show to all of the higher levels. But if we are talking from current level, which is the draft, you will see a color-coded indicator on the left side, as well as the status in here, as well as the name of the requester, the time of the day, the date of the order, what is the name of the vendor, and all of the details that we have mentioned inside of the order. Of course, we can either delete the order, as we did, or we can edit the order. Once we open editing the order and we are sure that the order is okay, we can click to send to head of department. Once we click to send to head of department, it will ask us, are you sure you want to send this approval? If you click OK, the order is processed within the system, and accordingly it will change the status of the order to be sent to head of department, as we can see, with a different color code and the status. If we go to the head of department side and try to process, we will see that the head of department is seeing the order immediately, and of course they will get an email notification. As we have mentioned, the email has been sent to the sender and the receiver. So if you can see, the sender, which is Sharif, the department requester, is confirming to them that the order has been sent to the head of department for approval, and as for the head of department, they will get an email notification stating that this member or the department requester is requesting approval on that order. If we go to the head of department request and we can open the order is completely editable by the head of department, but unless the order is processed by someone else, if we try to open, it will show us as locked. There is no two users can open and edit the order at the same time. So once the order has been released by the head of department, we can have a look on it as the department requester. And we will find that the order, once it's been sent to the head of department or the next cycle in the chain, is completely uneditable to the user, the previous user, because the order has been sent for approval or rejection. It cannot be edited, which is why we need to make sure, once you click send to the next step, be aware that the order cannot be edited anymore. So once we click on that, and we can open the order by the head of department, and the head of department can review and see the items. For example, if we want to remove such item and we click on OK, all of that is saved and editable by the head of department until further notice. Please be aware, as you can see, each time when we edit the order and we have a look, you will find that the button that said send to the head of department has changed to send to principal. Of course, each time this is dynamically changing because each step is going to the following step. Like the following step from the department requester goes to the head of department, and from head of department it goes to principal, and so on and so on. So in each window, whenever we open to a different user, we will find that the name of send to, or the approval next cycle, will change accordingly to the role order within the system. And as we mentioned earlier, we will go now to the principal side. So far, the order is still showing to be with the head of department, but since the order, as we mentioned before, is under editing by the head of department, if the principal tries to open, it will tell him that the order is locked by review by the naming of that head of department. Once we click on send to principal and we click OK, again we will find that the order is no longer will be editable to the head of department and can only be opened by the principal or higher. And as we can see, the color code indication has changed within the system. Once we have that, you will find that the users will get an email as well, notification, see, by the principal has been set, the user has got an email that the order has been sent to the principal for approval, and the principal got a request as well, or the receiver got an information that the order has been ordering requester for approval. We can log in right now as the principal, and we will find that the order has been showing. The principal will have a look on the order. If you can edit, add any items. For example, let's say another item we need to see. Set an item, as well as equipments, and no matter what, they have the full access to the system. As we mentioned before, if there is any item type or unit that's not available, please do contact your system administrator for updating. Once you click on that and we place save detail, it will be added to the order. and then it will be sent to the director, which is the next step or before the final step for the order. And as we will send the order request to the director, and once you click OK for approval, the order will be processed, and accordingly will change the status of the order again to the director side, and all previous users can no longer edit that order for any sort of reason because the order has been sent to the higher level. We will go right now to the director side and try to check, and the order can be accessed, and as you can see, it will be sent to the final approval. This is the last step that the director needs to make, of course, after reviewing the order and the order details and approving on everything in the order. Once they do, of course, all users get email notification, as we mentioned before, that the order has been sent to the director, and the director gets a notification that the order has been requested for approval by the principal. Once we click on send to final approval and we click OK, the order status will be changed, and this is the final step within the order. No one in the organization can anymore edit because this is the final step before it goes to the vendors and the final approval with the purchasing request with the receipt to all the vendors. By this, we conclude the cycle of the purchasing order for the head of department requester from start to finish, and as we mentioned before, no two users can edit the order at the same time, so please be aware. If you are editing the order, no one else can access the order until you finish, as well as make sure that when you click to send for approval for the next cycle, that you are sure of your order, because once it cannot be edited anymore. Until the next video, please stay safe.